Hey guys, so in today's video I wanted to talk about my experience getting the gastric sleeve surgery. Today, as of the day that I'm filming this, is exactly 1 week since I had my surgery. So on this day last week, I was still in the hospital. But I want to kind of go over everything that happened from the time that I got to the hospital, the day of my surgery, until the time that I was discharged and came home. I'm sorry if I keep clearing my throat. I am working on hydration. This is all I've been able to get down water-wise today. This is actually pink lemonade flavored, but I had it outside in the sun while I was outside, and so the pink kind of left it. Okay, so on the day of my surgery, they told me to arrive at the hospital by 8 a.m. So I got there about like 1:45 and checked in with registration. The lady at the registration desk had called the surgical suite and asked them if I needed to do pre-op labs, and they told her no. However, when the nurse came out to get me, she asked if I had done pre-op labs that day, and I said no. The lady in registration had called and said that I didn't need to do labs. So she sent me over to the lab to get that done. They only did basic lab work. I think they did 2 tubes of blood, and then they had me do a UA. So I did that, and from there they told me, once you're done, go sit back over by the surgical suite entrance. And then that particular nurse had said that she would be watching for me to come back over there, and she would come and get me when she noticed I was sitting out there. So by the time I got back there, she had me basically strip naked, get into a gown, put these horribly huge grippy socks on. She gave me an XXL. I don't know if it was because I was there for a weight loss surgery that they just assumed that my feet were going to be gigantic, but they were not. Thankfully, eventually, one of the nurses, I can't remember if it was the day of surgery or the day after, switched me into a large, which was still loose, but much better than the extra large. She had a little bit of trouble finding an IV, which of course I anticipated because I hadn't been able to eat or drink anything since midnight the night before. So I had been prepared for them to have problems. As you guys know, if you've watched any of my previous videos, when I was in the hospital in March with my liver issues, they had to stick me. I was like a pincushion, and they always have trouble finding a vein for some reason for IV access. So I came ready for all of that. Finally, she was able to get an IV right here, and it was at an angle, so it was like this, and it was pulling up on my skin. You could see the IV catheter under my skin, and it still is kind of sensitive in that spot even today, but she put little rolls of gauze underneath it to try to stop it from pulling my skin up like it was. That didn't really work, but it worked good enough to get me through the surgery, and that's what really mattered, because obviously they needed to give me drugs for anesthesia and things like that. So once she was done with all of that, she started me on an antibiotic, which I didn't know that they would do an antibiotic. I mean, I guess it makes sense before a major surgery like that, but they did an antibiotic IV. And then once that was done, they just had me on fluids the whole time. And then the CRNA, the nurse anesthetist, came to talk to me. And eventually, the last people that came to talk to me was the PA who works with my surgeon, and my surgeon showed up 2 minutes after he did. So they kind of talked to me, reminded me about the whole process, how quick things would go. And my godmother came with me, so they let her know that, once I was out of surgery, they would come and talk to her and let her know how everything went. So the last thing I remember is getting wheeled into the operating room, and then they had me stand up and lay on this operating room table. And the last thing I remember was them strapping my legs down to the table, and they're like, "We just gave you some medicine, you're gonna feel woozy." And that's the last thing I remember before surgery. So then I woke up when I woke up, I was not in the recovery room. I was already in the room like that I was going to be in until I got discharged. And I was having some major blood pressure issues. Like at one point, my blood pressure was like 62/35, and they were very concerned. I was on oxygen. I wasn't really in a lot of pain. Like I was sore, but I expected that after having a major surgery like that. Honestly, I feel like when I got my liver biopsy done, that hurt worse and like took longer recovery wise than it has for this whole process, because like I've been out walking the last few days. I've been, wanting to be active, and I don't have very much pain or soreness really at all. It's just on the one spot where they took the extra stomach out of, that's where I have the most like irritation. I'm not even going to say like pain, because it's more of a soreness / like I said, irritation. So basically the day of my surgery, after a little while, they asked me if I was ready to try to walk. And at first I was going to say no, but then I'm like, actually, I do want to walk, because like I felt like I needed to walk, like it would help me. And it did, although it also pushed gas pain right up into my shoulder, like the surgeon had said it probably would. So that was a little bit irritating, but I was on pain medication and all of that stuff. I do plan on making a couple of other videos talking about certain things that I don't understand why they did it this way after having a surgery like this. So stay tuned for that if you guys are interested in hearing more information about specific things relating to my experience with the surgery. The first time that I went for a walk, so like in my room, in this hospital, the ER was like 2 doors down from where my room was. And then there was my room, and then there was another room, and there was like a little computer area where I don't know if it was the techs or the nurses could sit and chart. And by techs, I mean like CNAs, PCTs, whatever they're called at that hospital. But I walked like down to that computer area and then back to my room the first time, because I was afraid it was going to hurt, and it was a little bit sore, but I didn't want to push myself too much. So that was the first time I walked. And then I went to the bathroom before I got back into bed. Meanwhile, they had me using medicine cups to sip. They gave me protein 2O, which is really thick and tastes weird, and I didn't like it. But they also had water in a little medicine cup, and they want you to take sips of this. So just be prepared for that. I'm not using the medicine cups anymore. I just have these because I had actually my pills in this morning. I am just taking small sips out of a water bottle at this point, and just being very careful and mindful of how much I'm actually drinking. So the one thing that I do plan on making a video about is expecting people to take pills after a surgery like this and be able to swallow them with no issue. So stay tuned if you want my thoughts on that. Also, the second time I went for a walk, I went all the way down to the end of the hall and all the way back, and then again went to the bathroom before I got back into bed. I was just basically trying to do things to make myself more comfortable. My back was hurting this entire time. My back is still hurting. I'm not allowed to take certain pain medications. They did give me oxycodone after my surgery. They gave me 5 pills, and I still have 2 left. I think the first one I took was on the first day after I got home from the hospital. And then the third day following surgery was very rough for me. I ended up throwing up in the morning and all of that. So it was a rough day. And so I ended up taking one just because like I was having hiccups, and that hurt so bad. Just because of the jarring motion, I believe, with my stomach and my abdomen. It did not feel good at all, I will tell you that much. So basically, I was doing everything I could to just make sure that I was all right. They wanted you to be up and going to the bathroom. The day after surgery, I got up, I took a shower. It felt wonderful to be in the shower. Like, it is amazing how much a shower can help things, especially when you're in the hospital and you're dealing with pain or soreness or anything like that. showers, hot showers really help my back pain. And so they've always been a go-to for me when I have back pain. I will tell you, the one thing that really, really irritated me was as I was getting ready to get discharged, the nurse that was in my room at that time, she basically blew the vein that my little weird angly IV was in. And she had 3 more medications, and I asked her if I could just try to swallow the pills and like wait an extra 20 minutes before I go home while I try to swallow these pills. Because it was like, I don't even remember what it was. I think it was a nausea, and then something else, but it was stuff that I know they have in pill form. And she said, no, it has to be through the IV. And so she literally had to find 2 other nurses to come in and try to get a new IV placed after she had stuck me multiple times. This is from last Tuesday, so almost a week ago, and it is still bruised like this. She also tried here. As you can see, it's still bruised there. She tried here, which has a scar from when I was in the hospital with my liver issues. It was just a mess. I was very frustrated with that. And at that point, I just wanted to go home. I was very surprised that on the way home, the ride did not hurt at all. Like my incision sites did not hurt. I did bring a pillow to kind of put over my abdomen and then put the seatbelt over that. So I joined before surgery, I joined these Facebook groups, which are basically like little support groups for people who are either thinking about having this type of surgery or people who have had this type of surgery. And there were a couple people who had recommended doing that. And so I tried that and it worked great. I still am not able to get a seatbelt over my abdomen without a pillow there. I have not attempted to drive yet. I'm probably able to drive. They had literally said the only limitation on me driving was if I was taking the oxycodone still. They didn't want me to drive, but I've only taken 3 of those pills because like I said, they gave me 5 and I still have 2 left. And I have not taken anything for pain for the last 3 days. What I was taking was Tylenol. I had pills, and then my godmother's sister actually got me, this is Child's Tylenol, but it is liquid, and I was having such a hard time like trying to swallow pills. She got me this, and this really helped. So anyways, that is kind of my experience. Other than that, the nurses were great. They were wonderful. I did have some problems with my Dexcom going off the first day that I got home from the hospital with critical lows, like I was in the 30s blood sugar wise. And so that was not compression either because I had to lay flat on my back. I was not able to even angle myself towards the side, which is how I normally sleep. So that kind of sucked. But anyways, I just wanted to share with you that little story. If you guys have any questions or want me to talk about anything specific related to my weight loss or my weight loss surgery, again, I did get the gastric sleeve, or the actual name of it is a vertical sleeve gastrectomy, or VSG. I can give you more information. Like I said, today as I am filming this is exactly 1 week since I had my surgery. So feel free to ask away. And yeah, I do plan on sharing more updates as time goes on with weight loss and things like that. I would love to be able to show you before and after pictures once I'm able to. So yeah, anyways, I will talk to you guys in my next video.